Welcome to Inspiration and Transformation from the Banks of the Ganga with Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, an American sannyasi living at the Parmarth Niketan ashram in Rishikesh, India. Sadhvi is president of the Divine Shakti Foundation, a charitable organization bringing education, vocational training, upliftment, and empowerment programs to women and children. Sadhvi is also Secretary General of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and Director of the world-famous International Yoga Festival. Join the musings of an American sannyasi as Sadhvi shares the wisdom and teachings of her guru, His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswati Ji.
Welcome everyone to Inspiration and Transformation from the holy banks of the sacred Ganga River in the land of Rishikesh, India. This is a really big misconception that we have around karma. And sometimes when we don't understand it so well, it's incorrect but harmless. And sometimes when we misunderstand things, it's incorrect and also harmful. This young woman, it's anonymous. She didn't sign her name, but she's obviously suffering. Not just from the trauma of having been raped, but she's suffering from this idea that somehow it's her fault, that misunderstanding of how karma works and what it means has made her think it's her fault. We also see it the other way. You have situations where people are very rich, very successful, and when they are asked to donate, to help, to do something nice for those who are poor or don't have, you'll hear them say things like, well, clearly it's their karma to be poor, and my karma to be rich. I mean, if God wanted them to have money, God would have given them money. Therefore, it's against the rules of karma, or it's against the flow of karma for me to give them something or to help them. And both of these are not just horribly wrong, but really, really damaging to our societies and to our own ways of understanding. So here, in a very, very oversimplified nutshell, is how karma works. So karma is action. That's actually what the word means. And the science of physics, science of science, and also the science of spirituality tell us essentially the same thing, which is each action has a repercussion. Science tells us that we have stimuli and response, cause and effect. Spirituality, we use the word karma. And what it essentially means is everything I do has an effect, right? I mean, I drink the water, my thirst goes away. I pour the water on my clothes get wet. I pour the water on you, you get wet and probably angry also. I plant something, it grows. It's the law of nature. But what's really important to realize and to always remember is that karma is not about rewards and punishments. It's not about you deserve good things or you deserve bad things. It's really about what you have put into your karmic, in America we call it CD, Certificate of Deposit. In India we call it FDR. But you put money in the bank at a certain rate and it comes back. You plant seeds, you get trees. Now, some of our actions, some of our karma, are what we call long-term karma. Meaning, I may plant the seed today, do the cause today, but the effect, the tree, comes only much, much, much later in life or even in another life. Some is immediate, the water example I just gave. Some of it is more short term. Things like you study hard in school, chances are you've got a much better chance of getting a good job, much better chance of having a good income. You don't study, you play around, you're lazy, you fail your exams. Well, chances are in a few years you're going to find it quite difficult to get a job or to make a good income. Short-term karma. You can think about it as a, short-term FDR or a long-term FDR. Some trees that you plant or vegetables that you plant, you come up in a couple weeks. Some fruit trees take years and years. So this is how karma works. But it is not about rewards and punishments. It's not about good and bad. But it's also really important to realize that karma does not only work in this one simple direction. Most of us think what I have today is due only to that which I did in the past. And in many cases, that's true. But karma also works in another way. For example, you look at horrible, horrible things in history. Things like the Holocaust, for example, or just awful, awful atrocities against people. Now, on one level, we could look at some past thing, and if we had the ability to see a tapestry that was as big and we were as far back, we might see karmic threads weaving together of all of the jivatmas that were together at that time. But I actually think that there's another explanation for that. A lot of times there are lessons that we need to learn that we only learn through certain experiences. And so there may be troubles, challenges, obstacles, difficulties, trauma even, not just because something in the past made that happen, but because there is something that is meant to happen in the future that requires this as the foundation. I know in my life, for example, the challenges and difficulties and even trauma that I experienced in my early childhood. Well, in this life, I certainly had done nothing to deserve it. I was very, very, very young. I could look at it one way and say, well, maybe in some past life, I had done something and I was getting the ramifications of that. Maybe. But what feels to me a lot more true on the inside is that all of that happened not because of something I had done in the past, but because of something I was meant to do in the future. My being here today, my having the blessing and the opportunity and the privilege of living this life and serving in this way of teaching, of sharing, of guiding, comes directly out of the challenges and the difficulties and the trauma that I experienced. That was what led me to the healing and the transformation that I experienced here in India, that led me to the opportunity to be able to serve in this way. And so I think that's true for a lot of things. When I look back at something like the Holocaust, or you look at children today being killed in Israel and Palestine, yeah, maybe we could say, okay, in some past life there was something. But I actually think it's happening much more to impact us all on such a deep level, to teach us a lesson, to finally maybe create some peace in the Middle East, to finally maybe get enough people to stand up and say, no more violence. We are one. The horror of the Holocaust has created ripples of interfaith work, of acceptance, of tolerance, of understanding, of education, of pledges of never again. And so when you think about your own rape, don't think about it only as the effect of something that is the cause in the past, but think about what today and in the future you are going to be able to do, having healed, having overcome, having transcended that pain and that anguish. And the number of people you're going to be able to heal and to touch and to guide and to share with because you went through that. The amount of compassion that you're going to be able to have for other people who struggle. And so karma works in that way as well. So sometimes when things happen that don't make any sense at all based on what you know of what actions you've done, one explanation absolutely is must be something in a past life. But another explanation also can be, what am I supposed to learn from this difficult situation that's supposed to change me in a very profound way so that I am better equipped, stronger, more wise, to actually give more, share more, teach more, touch more in the world. And that's another very powerful way that karma works. So you definitely did not deserve this. It definitely was not your fault. And now just ask yourself how, with the lessons and the strength you've gotten, you can help others and heal others and touch others.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going Om. My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org, brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. Karma and destiny. If everything is written, where's my control? Everything is written up to this moment. You were destined to be here. That is why you are here. You cannot rewind history and be sitting in Paris at this moment. Your destiny has brought you right here, right now. But where you go from here is your free will. Right now, you are writing your destiny for the future. And yes, of course, some of it is impacted by what you've done in the past. But a lot of it is being impacted by what you do right now. I pick up this glass of water. Drink it, don't drink it. Drink it, don't drink it. Now, my destiny wrote that I was going to be here. And that I was going to be here in such a way that someone would be lovely enough to leave a glass of water there for me. And that I'd be here with all of you. But in this very moment, I've picked up this glass of water. I have absolute free will. We could literally, I could make a decision that what I'm going to do is based on a vote here. Because when you say free will, sometimes people say, well, the way your brain is, it's not really free, But I could even say, I will drink it or not based on a vote of all of you. Free will. It's not yet written. Am I going to drink this or not drink it? Am I going to dump it on my head and have a shower here? Am I going to pour it on the grass? Not yet written. But that action is going to determine from the moment from here. So for example, if I take a little water and I pour it on my sari, now I'm wet. Okay? 2 moments ago, I had free will of what to do. I engaged in the action of pouring this water onto my sari. I wrote at that time my destiny, which now I'm facing, which is I'm sitting here wet. There are threads of this moment that are due to the past. That's what has us all here in this moment. It's what has me sitting here. It's what has you sitting there. It's what has this beautiful garden here as it is. And we've got people who have put lights and a camera and a sound system. And we're here through a lot of intersecting karmic threads of a lot of different people into a beautiful tapestry that we call the present moment. That we call right here, right now. But each of us sitting in the right here, right now, has total free will of what we're going to do in the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. I am wet because I poured water on myself. But what started that? Your question. If you had not been sitting here and raised your hand and asked your question, it's very unlikely I would have decided to pour water on myself and make myself wet. Right? So, is my destiny to be wet? From the moment that I made the choice to pour the water on it, it became yes. But you can see this very beautiful way that all of our karmic threads are interwoven together. Your tomorrow, your next week, your next month, your next year, your next life is being written by you right now in every moment. Again, some of it is from the past. I've now gone 3 minutes approximately without pouring water on myself, and yet I'm still wet. the repercussions of a karma that I did a good 3-4 minutes ago is still with me. In the same way, the repercussions of karma that you did hours ago, months ago, years ago, lifetimes ago, some of it is still with you and is still impacting you in different ways. And you bring your full free will to this moment. And your actions in this moment intersect with the threads of the karma from the past and create the beautiful tapestry that is the next moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment. And each moment gives you an opportunity for more threads as you are conscious and aware and choose your actions. Every action is a new thread, adding to the tapestry. Each moment, a new thread. Some of the threads of the past now shrivel up and we leave them behind. And so the tapestry keeps getting rewoven as moments go by. Some threads are very long and they stay with the tapestry for a long time. Some are just there for one tiny bit of it. But each moment is weaving newer threads into the tapestry. So you get to create. What is the tapestry of your life going to look like? Tomorrow, next week, next year. And that's your free will. And the reason that I can be so absolutely positive that we have free will is that every single spiritual tradition in the world, every one of them, and within our Sanatan Dharma, every single lineage, every single parampara, every single sage, saint, rishi, incarnation of the divine, scripture, gives us things to do. Meditate, pray, serve, tell the truth, be generous, be compassionate. We're given all of these things to do in order to change the weave of the tapestry of our lives. If there were no way to do that, it wouldn't make sense that every single enlightened being, every sage, every saint, every rishi, every mystic, every yogi of every tradition would not be telling us, meditate, pray, serve, practice yoga, go within, refine the senses. They wouldn't be telling us this over and over again if there were no point. If they had not personally discovered the power. And we know it as well. We know it from science. We know, for example, that meditation changes your brain. Well, our brain is what gives us our thoughts. Our thoughts are what determine our actions. If meditation changes our brain, it is changing our destiny. So yeah, you've got a lot of free will.
Conscious media for conscious minds. Om Times. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going Om. My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
If I could be you,
And you could be me
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way,
To get inside.
each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Inspiration and Transformation. I'm so glad to have you all back here with me. We should absolutely not fear death. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to die, right? I mean, all of the rest of what we fear, the worst case scenario is then I die. So if it's death, there is no other worst case scenario. You're dying. There's no, this could go wrong and then I might die situation. You're already dying. So there's no reason to fear death, especially because death is the only inevitable. So even if it sounds scary, it's something we have to overcome. Otherwise, we actually die while we're living. That fear of death keeps us from living. We spend our lives trying to somehow stave off the inevitable. And while I, on a very personal level, am very committed to a healthy lifestyle, I eat really well, I exercise, I try to get enough sleep at night, I, do whatever I can to take care of myself, take my vitamins. I do everything. So I'm committed to a healthy life and to be able to be healthy as long as you can. And yet, nothing's going to stave off death. Whether you believe that it is predestined based on karma, or whether you believe that it's just a matter of how healthy the body is. Either way, at some point, whether it's at 30 or whether it's at 110, we're all going to die. And interestingly, the fear of death tends not to be a fear only of early death. Most of us, when we fear death in general. It never feels like it's the right time. But it's the inevitable. And that fear of the inevitable keeps us essentially trying to keep life at an arm's distance. Because we are holding off life in this aim to hold off death. We're not living. Because our minds are so constantly afraid of death. And so this is why so many of the masters and teachers of all of the world's religions have always emphasized to really come to terms with death. It's going to happen. It's where a lot of spiritual practices are focused on getting to know that which transcends death. Otherwise, why would it matter? Why should I have what we call Atma Darshan, which is darshan of, vision of, awareness of my own soul? Why would it matter otherwise? Who would care? If my soul dies with my body, if all I am is this package and it's going to die, Why bother? Self-realization, God-realization, who would care? It matters for one very, very critical reason. Because when I drop this body, the one going with me is soul. And if you've got to take a long journey, and especially if it's a journey where you have no idea where you're going, and if it's a journey that you're really kind of nervous about going on, you want to make sure you're going with someone you know really well and you trust a lot. So all of our meditative practices to meet the soul, understand the soul, access the soul, experience the soul, it benefits us in life because it gets us out of the stuckness and the drama of thinking that we're just the body and the story and the bank account. But it does something else that's even more powerful, which is it allows us to essentially become best friends with the only one who's always going to be with me. When you don't know where you're going and you're scared to go there, going alone makes it even more terrifying. But if you're going with someone you know and you love and you trust, so that in that last breath, in that last moment, you are essentially grabbing the hands of the one you know, it makes it a lot less scary. Because then it's, yes, and off we go. But you already know that being. And of course that being is you. That being's not separate from you. So fear of death is normal and natural. It's not even really a matter of should we or should we not. We all do. But we've all got to work through it. And the best way of working through it is to really get to know that which doesn't die. Soul, spirit, consciousness, we were talking last night. God, divinity. Again, it doesn't matter what word you use. But that which does not die. And in terms of Meg's aspect of being so afraid that she's lost her father, well, that's a slightly different situation. That's not just fear of death, that's fear of loss of someone's I'm attached to. And again, it's normal, it's natural, no one wants to lose a loved one. But just as we know that death is inevitable for ourselves, so is it inevitable for everyone in our lives. Every relationship you have, you will lose it. Guaranteed. You will lose it because even if you do not divorce or separate or break up, one of you is going to die first. So either you're going to lose it because you're going to die and leave them behind, or you're going to lose it because they will die and leave you behind. And I know that's awfully morbid. And I apologize for the bad news. But it's the only guarantee of life. And as difficult and tragic as it is for us to lose our parents, the only alternative to that is that they lose us. The only way to not lose your parent is to die first. There's no other option. And what you know is that if you died first, no matter how much you're hurting, they would hurt worse. Because on some deep level, no matter how attached we are, we understand, we know. I'm going to lose my mom, I'm going to lose my dad. Like that is the natural cycle of life. The only way that doesn't happen is if I die first, which is not the natural cycle of life. Parents should not have to bury their children. And so, Meg, your family here in Rishikesh hugs you, loves you, supports you, sends you prayers and love and hugs from Ganga. And yet, in the midst of this agony, recognize that it's better this way than if you had gone first. And recognize also that the fear that you have is a fear of being alone. And that's a fear that every one of us has to drop into. Because no matter who we fill our days with, ultimately on the deepest level, we're alone, except for God. And that takes us back again to the teaching of connecting with God. God's the only one in your life who's not going to die. Not going to betray you, not going to cheat you, not going to abandon you, not going to leave you. And while having close family and friend relationships is beautiful and wonderful and a great asset to life, we can only do so intelligently, knowing that it's temporary. So in a way, it makes it even more precious because we know every minute is sacred, every minute is holy. It could be the last moment. But we also realize the importance of that relationship which isn't going anywhere. And so, Meg, at this point, reach out to your other family and friends, but also reach out to the divine in whatever way you connect. Because that connection is there to hold you and to support you through this time and through every time. And it's the only way for any of us to actually overcome that fear of loathing of death. Otherwise, we go through our lives in this illusion. I mean, I'm originally from Los Angeles, and when I go back to visit first both my parents, now my dad, wherever you drive, all you see is like anti-aging this and reverse aging that. No, dyeing your hair does not reverse your age. I mean, feel free to dye it. If you have aesthetic preferences, no problem. Color it whatever you want to color it. But it doesn't reverse your age. Having treatment done on the wrinkles on your face just changes the aesthetics of what you look like. It's not actually anti-aging. And who would be anti-nature anyway? I mean, that's like saying I am anti-autumn when the leaves fall off the trees. Like, anti-autumn. Well, nature doesn't care. You can wear an anti-autumn t-shirt all you want. You can hold up an anti-autumn picket sign. But that's not going to stop the trees from having their leaves change color and having the leaves fall down from the trees. And in the same way, we can, have anti-aging t-shirts and picket signs and infusions and tonics and operations and whatever else we want. But I guarantee you nature's going to win. And so it's much better to befriend nature than to be anti-nature. So instead of thinking about anti-aging, we should be pro-health. Let us live as many days as we have, full, physically, mentally, spiritually, such that every day we are giving something back. It's like that beautiful quote that says, it's not about the days of your life, but the life in your days. How much are we giving back? What kind of an impact are we leaving here on earth? Because that will last. What kind of a ripple impact of healing, of help, of touching people, of sharing, of caring are we leaving here? It's the only way for this body to actually really be immortal, is to leave an impact of healing and of help that just keeps rippling out.
The future of internet radio is here. Om Times Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit rain.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
Welcome back. This is Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati with inspiration and transformation. When I'm in physical or emotional pain, what are the things I can do for myself? So let's take physical pain first, and then we'll take emotional pain. So physical pain is actually, it's unavoidable in life. Everyone at some point in their life is going to stub their toe, bang their elbow, get a paper cut or a canker sore. I mean, if you manage somehow to avoid anything beyond that, chances are you're not going to make it through all of life without so much as a paper cut or a stubbed toe. Most of us end up with other physical pain, broken limbs, whatever. The pain that the body experiences is a very biological one. It's a very natural one. It's a very scientific one. But what actually tends to make the physical pain worse is what we call suffering. So it looks like this. I'm walking down the road, or I'm bicycling, or I'm skateboarding, or roller skating, or whatever I'm doing to get down the road. And I trip and I fall. And I bang up my knee and maybe it's bloody. Minorly, majorly. And there's pain. Natural reaction. The body is sending all of these chemicals through the body. They come from the body to the brain, from the brain to the body. Send the blood there. It creates inflammation, swelling, blood rushes there. The endorphins rush in our body to enable us to fight or to flee if something is to be fought off or fleed from. There's a whole host of physical things that happen. But something else then happens for most of us. The mind goes, oh, I cannot believe it. This is so unfair. Always happens to me. Everybody else bikes, skateboards, walks, roller skates, no problem. I am the one who falls. Why? Why is the universe against me? Who the hell put this rock in the middle of the road? Don't they know people bicycle here? Where's our neighborhood watch team? Aren't they supposed to be cleaning these things up? Tires in my bike are flat. I told him to pump my tires full of new air. He never listens to a thing I say. It's his fault I had this accident. And you see what happens. Where originally we had just a rush of signals, a rush of endorphins, a rush of blood. Now suddenly what I've got is suffering. Because pain dissipates. Pain goes away eventually. The suffering is what continues it. The story we tell ourselves about the pain. Oh my God, I'll never walk again. I'll never be able to dance. I'm going to be stuck to my bed. I'll get unhealthy and fat and out of shape. Look at this. I bet that doctor is going to put my leg in a cast. We're supposed to go skiing next week. Ugh, everything is ruined. That's suffering. But that's what most of us do with pain. And so when you have physical pain, make sure, first of all, that you are not also adding the suffering to it. And you'll notice most of the time you are, and that's okay, just notice it. Notice how automatic that story that we tell ourselves is with the pain. And see whether you can stop that. Because the physical pain is automatic, it's chemical, it's biological. But the suffering in the mind, you can stop that. But you have to notice it. What story am I telling myself? Is it even true? Does everyone else bike without falling down? Do these sorts of things really always happen to me? Is my life ruined because I can't go skiing next week? Is the story I'm telling myself actually true? And even if it's true, is it helpful? Is it beneficial? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says that speech is right speech, yogic speech, dharmic speech, if it is true and kind and beneficial. And that's not just what I say to others, it's what I say to myself. So, okay, maybe I always fall. But is that kind to myself to tell it? Is it beneficial? Do I need to hear that? Maybe I won't be able to go skiing. Maybe I am right that the doctor's going to put it in a cast. But do I need to know that right now? I'm not even at the doctor's yet. Is it helpful in this moment? Is it kind? Is it giving myself the flow of energy that I need to heal? So ask yourself those two questions. Is it true? And is it beneficial? Is it helpful? And otherwise, with physical pain, what we know is that even though we say it's chemical, it's biological, it's also in the mind. It's the chemistry and the biology of the brain. And so our mind and our thoughts play a huge role in physical pain as well. One of my favorite ways to think about this is, did you know that more than 50% of people who have a limb amputated still have pain in the limb they no longer have? It's called phantom pain. And more than half of people who have amputations have it. Now you think, okay, I had an arm. Now my arm has been completely amputated. It's gone. I have no more arm. But I have pain in the arm. More than 50% of people. How do we explain that? Well, where is that pain? I think it's in the arm, but I have no arm. Where's the pain? In my mind. And that doesn't mean that I'm crazy. Usually when we say something is in your mind, it means it's fake. You're crazy. No. It means that you have the power with your mind to transform that pain. Because the mind is where it exists. And the phantom limb pain is the best way to understand that, because otherwise you think, no, really, it's my knee that hurts. But if your leg's been amputated, how can your knee really be that which hurts? It's in the mind. My mom, on a personal level, many of you know, just under 2 years ago, had a tragic stroke, a very, very severe, devastating cerebral hemorrhage. Her physical body stayed okay. She didn't have any paralysis or anything, but she lost her memory. Who she is, where she is, her whole life story. And it's been so interesting because my mom was someone who had a lot of physical issues. She was very small, she was very fragile, she was a warrior. I used to say she was like the Energizer bunny. She just kept bouncing back from injuries, from diseases, from so much. But one of the things that she always suffered from was pain in her neck and her back. She had surgery on her back, surgery on her neck. She had all sorts of actually diagnosable ailments and problems in the bones of her spine. And she was always in a lot of pain. Since she had the stroke, she's been in no pain. And trust me, you'd know. A lot of us spend a lot of time with my mom. We'd know. Because when she's not happy, you know it. But she's happy almost all the time. And it's so interesting because she spends most of her day sitting. She can walk with help. She can stand with help. But she sits most of the day. She lies some of the day. Certainly things that are not great for neck and back health. Because of the stroke, she's got what they call left side neglect, meaning she leans to the right side most of the time. She kind of forgets her left side is there. So she's always sort of leaning in this direction. Now you think, if you've got a spinal issue, I mean, I know if I'm at a function, and I don't even have those issues, but if I'm at a function, and I'm sitting on a stage where someone is speaking, and I've turned my head to look at them, and they speak for more than half an hour or so, I've got, a little thing in my neck for the rest of the day because you've spent half an hour like that. Now she spends all day kind of like this. No pain. No pain. And she's conscious, she's coherent, she's lucid. She doesn't remember who she is, but she has conversations. When she has pain in her stomach, she tells us, she moans, we know there's a problem. All of the back and neck pain is gone. And it's been amazing to witness because you think, well, God, pain is pain. You don't have to remember that I am someone who has pain. And yet all she lost was her memory, and the pain is gone. So when you're working with physical pain, realize the importance of not only working with the physical body, but also working with the mind to let go to the extent possible without having a hemorrhage of the identification as the one who has pain. What would happen if you suddenly forgot that you were someone who had a bad back, that you were someone who had a bad neck? What would happen? So there's a lot of ways to work with that. And emotional pain is obviously in the mind. Again, not that we're crazy, not that we've made things up, not that we haven't suffered. But emotional pain becomes really a choice. Do I want to hold on to this? Do I want to hold on to the anger, the grudges, the pain? Or do I want to let them go? And that's a choice we can all make. And I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple. It requires a full preparedness to dive into an unknown. Who would I be without this story? Who would I be if I weren't angry at that or with a grudge against this? Who would I be? But we all have that. Those of you who know my story know that my guru, Puja Swamiji, sent me to stand in the waters of Ganga and give her my pain. And I, of course, didn't think it could work. I didn't think it was possible. But it did work. It was possible. Not just temporarily, but 26 and a half years later, I can tell you it's still gone. So we can make that choice. But we have to be prepared to dive into the unknown of who would I be without this story? And that's where faith comes in. That's where courage comes in. But ultimately, that's what we're here for. We're not here to hold on to grudges or stories or pain. We're here to have courage, an open heart.
This brings to a close this hour of inspiration and transformation. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to be together with you all each week. And I look forward to being together again next Thursday, same time, on Om Times Radio.